with us and earn some soul. Dodge the rug and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might. Make your position and join the pool. Coach your wins with Alex's tool. LP Army, we fight to win. Your journey is about to begin. We are LP Army, rise to the sky. Dynamic feeds our battle cry. LP warriors will never die. Miracle we will fly. Rise, new soldiers, rise. Take the course and earn your role. March with us and earn some soul. Dodge the run and join the fight. We gain together LP Army might.
GMet, everybody. Welcome to Advanced Bootcamp number 5. So happy to have you guys all here. We're here to talk about multi-day positions. I've got some great instructors here, and we'll do some introductions. I also have a couple of guests. The Alex, creator of metlex.io and maintainer of lparmy.com. And we have a team member joining us today, Mir. So welcome, gang. We're going to get right on into the presentation. So here we go. We'll just, let me take a couple people off stage. We can add you back here in a second, but this is it. Just this is me. The Bootcamp mod. I do a lot of volunteer things. I work as a manager in IT operations. I've mined ETH, I've LP'd elsewhere before coming here. Most of you know me. If you don't, well, now you do. But moving on, and I will let these guys introduce themselves. First up, Nito.
GMet fam, I'm Nito. I'm gonna present myself a bit. I'm a student. I study big data in the university. I started crypto in 2020 with NBA Top Shot, that were NFTs about NBA plays and this kind of videos. Then I discovered Solana in 2021 with NFT Season 2. I really love it. And then 2022 came the bear market. I hold my whole Solana bag until $8, and I lost a lot of money. I think like many people. But in 2024, Jupiter airdrop happened, so it helped me a lot. And I discovered farming airdrops Meteora. I discovered it at the beginning of 2024. And later in summer, I started doing multi-day. I didn't know at the moment that was multi-day, but I started in August 2024 with FOG. Maybe some of you remember it. I did like 2x my salary with 1 month DLM in FOG. So I learned that with Conviction and Meteora, you can do a lot of money with solid tokens during a lot of days and with low management. And that's it. A bit of my interest are economy, the global economy. I also love doing sport, calisthenics and football. And that's a bit about me.
Right on, man. Well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you, bro.
Yep. Next up, Lincoln Logging. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. GMet, everyone. So I'm Lincoln. I'm a college student right now. I'm studying finance. And moving on, so I started crypto in April 2024. Basically went from just trading on the OKX, like their centralized exchange. And then I got more into it. And then I found myself doing Meteora LPing. So I started multi-daying really around November that's when I shared it with the Goose DAO. I'm also a member of the LP Army, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I also do something a little unique that not too many other people do. I'm hedging my Solana exposure. I'll talk about that. Something just a little different. And then I'm into running. I do some stock and option trading, and I love spending time with friends.
Awesome. Love it, man. I love that people work out. It's awesome. Okay. Soul Chief.
Hi, Jimet guys. I'm Soul Chief. I think I'm pretty popular in the Discord. A couple of guys know me there already. So I do a bit of marketing and growth for Web3 companies in real life. Yeah, I work in Web3, so it's not like I have some other Web2 day job. I started crypto in 2020. I started by spot buying tokens like XRP just after I graduated university. Further down the next year in 2021, started trading NFTs on Solana, and I have stayed on Solana ever since then. I discovered Meteora in 2024, just after Jupiter's airdrop. In short, I transitioned, I moved my Jupiter airdrop to Meteora, and that's how I started helping. And more recently, I started doing multi-day degens instead of the heart attack strat that Mythical Potato and Mole would love to use. So I decided to move away from that since I didn't have a lot of time to monitor my positions as I used to. And so it's been great. Well, my strategy is not the typical multi-day strategy, but it's pretty good. And yeah, it's for everyone. Like I said in my tweet, my strategy is for everyone. Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for coming today, joining us. So I'm going to just talk a little bit briefly about some of the tools available out there, community type tools for finding multi-day positions. If you're not on our LP Army Discord, why not? There's a QR code that take you straight to it. But within the LP Army Discord, you'll find a couple chats, multi-day degens, mid-cap DLMM, and multi-day ops bot to help you find some of these things. And of course, Mitlux.io is also another great place that you can maybe find some of these using the DLMM Top 100 and the new super filter. So that may be some places that you go and do that. Let me show you guys some things that I do. And let me just get to the correct page here. I'm only going to talk briefly about my strategies or what I've been doing here. So let me zoom in on that. Okay, so whenever I'm looking for a multi-day, generally what I am looking for is a well-established token, something that's been out for a while and it's running. Like Uranus, I couldn't tell you how long I've been in this one. It's been quite a while. And actually, I don't know why this is showing that. Yeah, there we go. Yep. So I've earned a whole lot of fees. I've been at this for a while. And sometimes I'm compounding these fees. Sometimes I'm just selling them. And it actually dumped a little bit and went down and stayed below range. And so I moved that. I was still in profit. And I moved down just because it started going sideways in this range that it's in right now. So I'm just letting it sit and it goes back and forth and it cooks. And I'm sticking with spot instead of a bid ask because it really is kind of moving back and forth throughout the range. So yeah, I've been cooking a little bit in Uranus for quite a while. And it's been pretty good money for me. Sol USDC, done a little bit of it. Obviously, it doesn't cook as hard. And some of these other guys are going to talk about Sol USDC. But thing that I wanted to mention about this one was I started this position with 10 Sol. And I just put in one-sided 10 Sol and I set a range. And I just let it cook. Now I've actually moved to a different pool, but I reset the same exact range. So that's why it looks a little funky here. But there's two things. So whenever I am, say I'm ready to take profits and I just want to sell some SOL into USDC so that I can, offboard that, put it in my bank account. I will just put the SOL in there and hope for a pump, and then it goes through. And once it's up enough, I will, or out of range, I'll sell it. I got my USDC, I've got my profit, right? And instead of just swapping. But right now, all I'm trying to do is increase the amount of SOL that I have. Okay. And so while I'm earning some fees and I actually compound the USDC back into the pool, what I'm actually hoping for in the end to withdraw is that it actually goes back down out of range, because I'll have more SOL. I'm after getting more SOL in this one. So if this thing goes all the way up here, I'm going to have less SOL than what I started with. So it's all about the approach of what your goal is on SOL USDC. So I'm actually hoping for a SOL dump eventually on that one. But that's what I'm doing. Again, I stay spot on that because it's moving back and forth. You could curve it, but whatever. Troll, I've been in that one for a long time as well. It suffered a pretty big dump, but I've been holding and waiting. I'm not trying to make my losses permanent just yet. I'm going to see if it bounces. I'm hoping it will. If it doesn't and it's staying down in a lower range, I may do like I did with Uranus. Right now, I'm kind of in a loss with this. So I may go down there and try and recoup some of those fees, but I need to get about $400 back. So we'll see what happens with that later. And here's one that I'd been cooking in this for like a couple days now. Made solid cash with that. And during the English Bootcamp earlier today, it dumped pretty hard on me. And I moved down. I was still in profit because I had enough fees. I gave a lot of my profits back, but I was still in profit. I went down to try and recoup this, and we'll see what happens. I may start this one again, but that one's a really low market cap, so that one's dangerous. Cope is another one that I think it might bounce, so I'm going to diamond hand that one for a while. And I just started this one, Goat. We'll see what happens with that. But anyway, like I said, what I'm looking for a lot of time is a high market cap and something that I want sideways action. If the socials look good, great. Of course, anything out there can rug. And as we all know, you can lose on anything. I've had plenty of things that I was in it for a week and then all of a sudden it rugged. That happens. So it's sometimes what you have to do is think about the greed factor, right? At a certain point, you're just like, are you going to keep pushing it or do you pull? I'm fairly confident in Uranus. So I'm just going to stick with that one for a while, but I probably should have pulled out of USAI yesterday. But whatever, that's on me. We'll see. So anyway, that's my basics. I don't want to take up a whole lot of the time. I want to give some time to our other instructors here. So we're going to start with Lincoln logging, if you will. Please feel free to start sharing when you're ready.
Perfect. Can we see this?
We can now. Maybe zoom in just a little bit.
All right. How's that?
Looks good.
Alrighty, so just to get started here, I set up a few of these positions yesterday in prep for the boot camp. So I just wanted to quickly go over how I'd manage a few of these, and then I'll talk about screening, and then I'll talk about creating positions, and then some managing, and then I'll go over how I hedge everything. So starting off, I like to sort by unclaimed fees, and I'll just click on a few of these and take a look at what we got. This one was a big runner that we had, and I've dropped 2 SOL in this, and just a pretty simple bid ask, and it has increased 87. It's the current price is where the top of my pool is right now is an 87% drop from the current price. Current price shot up hugely overnight. This is GMGN. This is a good charting platform. You can get that by just clicking right here. It's gone crazy since I've made this position yesterday. I probably made it down here in this range. So all the fees that I accumulated shot up to being worth 500, while the SOL fees are still worth 40 bucks. That's just because this price has shot up like crazy. Moving on, I've got Cope here. I set up a pretty simple bid ask. It dropped a little in, and I made a good amount of fees. And as a quick guess of how you're doing in a position, what you can do is look at this, the fees here compared to how many tokens you bought. Looking at this, I call it 40 each. So let's just say $80. But I've bought $93 of tokens. I have made way more. I've made way more fees than I've bought of tokens. It's about the same, but what I'm saying is the amount of fees I have here is considerable compared to the amount of tokens I bought. So I'm easily in profit on this. And what I like to see is at least 10 to 20% of this number here. So if I had made $9 to $18, I'd be pretty happy with a pool at that point. But if it dropped lower, then I'd want to make more 30 or 40%. USAI. I was in this one too. I put a few SOL in a bid ask. Pretty simple. It's made some money, but I've also made a bunch of fees. We're doing good on all of these. And then we've got Goat, Light, and AOL. These were some of. All right, so let me go over these. These were all more Degen-ish positions that I've been doing recently. It's a new thing I'm trying out where I find these lower market cap tokens, with the lower market cap being a feature, really. Let's see here. Here we go. So $3.5 million. That yesterday, this was down in the. It was far lower yesterday. I think it went down here. It was probably around $1 million or less. But what's kind of nice about these pools is that at the low market caps, they have very little liquidity up here in their migration pool. The pool that when these from this one that graduated from Pump, when it graduates from Pump, it goes to the Pump Swap, regular AMM pool. When these have really low market caps, like sub million or even sub 500,000, they get your liquidity means a lot more. So this newer thing I'm trying out, I'm gonna see how it goes. But moving on to my actual multi-days, I've got AOL here, a decently solid token, Light, which is a very solid token. I've been in this one for a while on my main wallet. And this has been, it's up a little bit from when I made it yesterday. It didn't really make a whole lot. Go, it's another decent multi-day. 156, if we divide that by 10, you get 15. But I've made more than 15 here. So I can feel pretty good about this position as it stands. And that looks like about it. This was another more degen position. But for yesterday, all I could really find for solid multi-days to do was this Light, AOL, Goat, and maybe even Debt. This one has not done anything, but this is an okay-ish multi-day. It was a pretty low market cap, but I still decided to throw it on. So in summary, just from yesterday to today, we did pretty good. I'll show kind of managing real quick as well. So let's manage 2 of these. For this one that pumped up a lot, what I'll just do is go ahead and just withdraw the whole thing. I'll zap it out as well. Just completely take out everything, take my profit here. And that's basically it for how I manage positions. I'm always just withdrawing. I'm not doing too much fancy stuff here. I'm not generally going to keep the tokens for any reason. I'll just sell them. So that all looked pretty good. I can check. I did not sell those, so I'll just sell those here real quick. That was the fees from what's that, Emulites. Alrighty, so I'm going to go over how I find some positions, and my number one tool is Toclio. This is a great tool you can use to find tons of pools. I'll zoom in slightly here. So some like a filter I might use for multi-day would look something like this. And then I want SOL only. And then I want to see the best fee to TVL pool per token. These sometimes have an effect, but in general, you just want to see, you're looking for tokens here, not exactly pools. So I would have this on. And so what I'm looking for is market cap of 8 million. In general, higher market caps are going to rug less, but I mean, everyone knows everything rugs. So you got to go with it. You got to find some number that you're sort of comfortable with seeing as a minimum. Sometimes I'm looking for 10s and above. Sometimes I might not even do it if it's at 12. But I think 8's a solid baseline. For min age, 24 hours. I would even go more sometimes. You might want to up this to 36 or 48. The tokens a lot of tokens are going to exist, and then they will pump up and do their thing, and then they'll just dump. And a lot of the times, these things will happen in the first day. I think in general, my belief is that if it survives about 24 to 36 hours, it's on average going to be a better token to be in. So that's why I'm always putting a min age here. For liquidity, I'm just going with 100,000. I just want to make sure that the pool I'm in actually has some other people in it as well. This is not only like a confirmation that this pool isn't complete garbage, but also because having more liquidity in the pool will let you get bigger swaps, and it will let you like suck more of the volume into your pool. So in general, you just want to have a pool with a good amount of TVL in it. For my min bin step, I'm going with 10 here. I used to be going for 80, but since we've got the dynamic positions, 10 is pretty good to have. Any lower and you're paying a lot in rent, and it's a hassle to do stuff. So I'm just going 10. Base fee, 0.5%. Some people like 1 to 2% is their base fee. I'm okay with 0.5% though. That's just personal preference. It's a slightly riskier to have a lower fee. However, it has some potential to make a little bit more. And then, but that's not even true in all cases. It's a bit of a balance. It's in the end, it's really not such a huge deal what your base fee is. It's more about the token itself. And then for min fees, 4K, just looking for a pool that has some action going through it, not just a dead pool. And then we get a bunch of pools here. So I could look at Goat. I've had an experience with Spark, but you can look at that, USDUC. There's not a whole lot of stuff to had a bad day with that one.
So I got screwed twice on Spark. Never again.
Spark, yeah. I took both of the dumps on this one, I believe.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, it's going up a little recently.
Yeah. You expand that out though.
I think I took this one, and I think I also took this one.
Same.
Both pretty bad. Yeah. I remember it though. Thing is, I almost there is there might be some merit to just saying if you take some L's, like leave it alone, don't touch it again. But I kind of feel like in theory, I want to be pretty detached, like emotionally. So I want to say, just go for it again. But I mean, this one, I mean, you can even see it. It pumps up every time. It just straight down. But who knows?
Well, yeah. See, that was me. Like I sat there and I held it and I held it and I held it and held it. And then like I think I waited like a week, and then I was like, okay, this is just going down. It's just getting worse. So I exited, right? And and then it like pumped back up, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe I can get some of my money back. And I got in again, and then it dumped again. I was like, damn it. So like
Yeah.
that one, I'm just taking the L and walking away. Never gonna touch it again.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of people in
That's
here.
my
There's tons of
sentiment right
people are
there on Spark. But
running this. Right. Um,
yeah,
in this situation, I would maybe run it. I don't like seeing a 100.8 pool that's inefficient, but it's not a crazy deal. I might put a position on this, but also seeing this like very recent pump. This was 12 hours ago. I have a feeling this is just going to come straight back down to here. But if you want to LP that all the way down, if you put a bid ask there, that might actually work. But yeah, I have a history with this one, so I might actually not even do that. But I would definitely make a new position in GOAT again. I'd do another one in USDUC. But yeah, so this is a decent spread. It's an okay spread of tokens you can do. In general, when I'm looking at Toclio, I want to see at least like a 1% here, or maybe I'll consider going down to like a 0.6% or a 0.5%. But something like GP, I might not consider opening this one just because it's pretty low. But a benefit of this is it's got a bunch of green down here.
yeah,
This fee to TVL ratio thing, what this does is it kind of shows you more recently, as in 30 minutes to an hour, how is the pool performing compared to the 24 hours. And when you see a token like this where it's just red across the board, what that means is that in the last like rolling 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, it's just dropping and dropping off. It's not doing great compared to this 1.15% number up here.
yeah.
While this one here, it's doing pretty good. GOAT is doing better recently.
Yeah, I'm in that one too. I'm waiting. I mean, just in a bid ask there. That Toclio reminds me a lot of some of the Metlex tools out there. But Alex has a question here. Why are you choosing Sol and not USDC pairs?
Oh yeah, so I only ever LP in Sol, and that's because I hedge out most of my Sol, so I don't ever want to be swapping between Sol and USDC just to LP. I'd rather just keep it all in Sol, because if I sell some Sol into dollars so that I can LP with it, now my hedge is a little off, because that Sol I was supposed to have in my wallet, that like long Sol that I've hedged out, is now in dollars. So now my hedging is imbalanced, and then I don't want to take that, like I don't want to bother with it, because I could do that, but I'd have to go into drift, and then I'd have to buy back some futures. But for me, I just don't care. I'm good with just LPing Sol, and most of the time, like none of the even top pools today are in USDC, so you don't miss out on a lot. A lot of launch pools will be in USDC, like Trump's launch pool and the Yeezy one was, but people make a Sol pool right away, and you can just hop in that. But it's a personal preference. It really doesn't matter so much.
So Mir's asking, how long do you typically hold your multi-day positions?
Oh yeah, so I'll get into that. For my holding, what I like to do is about 24 hours before I take a look and decide if I want to close it and then reopen it maybe. So let me roll into. Yeah, so I run about 24 hours usually, like every day, at about the same time every day, or maybe 16 to like 30 hours after I make some positions. I'll go in here and check every single pool that I have, and then I think most of the time I'll just go and I'll just close everything. Every single pool will just be closed, and then I'll just do the same process again. I'll kind of come in here, reopen everything again. I stole that from Tux. He did it every 12 hours. I was trying out his strategy, and then I did pretty well, and then it didn't work out for me over the last, like a week ago, when everything dumped. So trying out my own strategy, making like a modification to it, I'm telling myself I'm going to do about every 24 hours, because I want to give these tokens time to move into the range and do their thing. But I also don't want to like accumulate too much, because eventually GOAT is just going to go to here, then it's just going to go to like here, and then soon it'll be at the end of my range. And if I held the same exact range open for 4 days straight, you can just slowly accumulate tokens, and it's not really. I don't think you'll be in that much profit if you do that. I think it's better to stay in the same token, but just remake your position constantly. So you're constantly getting back to SOL, reducing risk. So you have less chance of losing a bunch of money on a huge dump.
Yeah.
So I'll go over any more questions, or I'll just go over how I'd make a position.
Yeah, you can do that. Someone says
Sure.
Spark got him too. Is the dev rugging it, or could be something else? I don't know that it's the dev. I think a lot of it's got to do with like whales and KOLs doing shenanigans on it. But
Mhm.
I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So for example, in GOAT, it's just I have this one open already. So I'm just going to close this one real quick. So I'll show how I'd make a new one here. So in a position like this, I might use a maybe like a in between 5 and 10% of my wallet for this type of position here. It's got a decent amount of liquidity. Its market cap's a little low. I'd like to see it higher, but it's had a decent track record. Just looking back in the pool here, it's got tons of swaps. It's mostly sideways. And if you zoom in to look at some of these candles, you got lots of action on the 1 minute. Tons of buying. And this right here is the Meteora pool itself. Like this is just the Met pool. And it's looking pretty good here. So I would definitely make a position. And this wallet, I put in 50 SOL yesterday. So I could probably do between 5 and 10. Or no, not 5 and 10. I'm sorry. On this type of position, I'd probably do like 4 to 8 SOL, I think. Let's just do 6, take it right in the middle. And then I'm doing recently 65%. I started out multi-day with 74. That would fill 2 complete positions. That was like the 140, it was 138 bins. Was 2 complete positions, but now that we have dynamic positions, I just do whatever you can do anything now. So I've been doing 65% because I did the 49, and then I feel like it's a little too narrow. If you just stick to the original like 69 bins, I'm kind of more inclined to do 65. But the range you pick here is kind of like a risk tolerance thing. If you're comfortable with taking some risk on a position, you could go to 40%. But if you want to play it safe and just make some solid money without having to worry about it, I think going down to 65 is a good idea. And
do you ever
then
use the chart to determine your range?
No, rarely, almost never. I'm only really looking at the chart ever for tokens to see 2 things. One, if on the pool chart, so to look at like the pool chart, I always use Dex tools, and because this has these gaps, I want these gaps because I want to see how often are people trading in this, and this here looks decent. There's a solid amount of movement. It's pretty somewhat filled out. There's gaps here of this is almost 10 minutes here. That's okay. But other tokens, there will be like an hour with no trades.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's dependent on the fee, 2%. But this is good for a 2% pool. There's a lot of action here. So I'm looking at the chart to see the action, the pool's action. And then I'm also looking to see like kind of overall price. So if you zoom out slightly, you can see it's just going sideways. It's going up and down, up and down. It's kind of at a low recently. If it was a chart like Spark here, where it's just like, say on Spark, I woke up and I wanted to do a position and say we just had like up to here, and you could see it was just going down, and this is where I was. I might not even put a position on because I can see it's just going down. I feel like it's just going to keep going down forever. A lot of tokens that are just straight down in a line, I might not even LP them.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I'm not really pulling out Fibonacci's, or I'm not pulling out like lines. I'm not doing any of that. I just go with like the fundamentals.
No, that's fair. I know a lot of people that do that. And to point out here, you're using Dex tools, which I used to use that exclusively. But an important distinction between Dex tools and GMGN is whenever you go to the Dex tools link, it's going to show you the chart for that specific pool only. And
that's right.
so you were seeing the points where it was like flat, where there was no trades going on. Versus GMGN, it's like an accumulation of all the pools together. So that's where you can see what's happening, overall in the whole market. So it depends what you. Mir's got a question here for you. Do you always do 100 bin steps for multi-days?
No. So for multi-days, I like the lowest bin step I can get. Generally, I'll just kind of take whatever is given to me on Toklio. Like I'm looking here, these are all hundreds. And these are because these pools have like all the TVL. I mean, 600. This is actually aggregate, or is this? This is not aggregate. This is per pool, right? Let me check real quick.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if
that's
it
right.
gives you a link, then yeah.
This TVL is for this pool. So there's $1 million in this pool for Tokaboo, and I'll just take. I mean, it's 101. It's fine. I'll just take it. If it was a 21, even better. I'd love that. If it was a 10-1, it's a little clunky, but I'll do it. In general, the lower the bin step you can ever do, the better. In almost all cases, the only problems you would get is your transactions will take a little longer to go through. You might have to increase your fee, and you lose the zap out feature at about, I think it was like 200. It was either 250 or like 500 bins. They don't let you zap out
it's
anymore.
250 bins, but here's the fun thing about that. If you go to that withdrawal, do the expand, like show the bins there, right? So let's say you had a 300 bin position. If you move that down, like use a slider where you're only pulling out 250 with, the zap out feature becomes available again.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's not like,
I didn't know you could do that. Okay, that is pretty cool.
You didn't know you could withdraw only a portion, or about the zap?
No, I didn't know you could zap. I didn't even think you could zap out like a portion.
Yeah.
I knew you could withdraw a portion.
Yeah, if you withdraw just a portion and reduce it below the 250, then that zap out becomes available again.
So you could zap out a really big position piece by piece if you wanted.
Yeah, you could. And when so that question that he had, 100 bin steps for multi-days, and here's my thought on it. Before dynamic positions came, generally speaking, that's what I would be looking at. Is I'm wanting to go wide probably on this, so I would have gone to the 100 bin step. But now with the dynamic positions, if there's a solid 20 bin step pool, I can have 200-300 bins in that, and so I'll just use that 20 because it's going to perform better, generally speaking. So yeah, like right now, for my Uranus pool, Troll pool, Goat pool, those are all 20 bin step. Cope, all of those are 20s, and I've gone wide on them, but that's what I've picked, and it's because of the dynamic positions. I mean, before you could do it, you just had to create a whole bunch, and if you were trying to do a bid ask, you'd have the sawtooth, and you can go and do the anti-sawtooth. To me, that's a hassle. I just want one position.
So that's right. I agree. In general, I'd always do a lower bin step. If I had some time and I was just, if I didn't really have anything to do, I'd probably go through and search for like 20 bin step pools for everything. But if you're in a rush, just 100 bin step pool, it's not going to be like a game changer. You'll just have less performance. That's about it. So I'm going to move on really quick. We are in LP Agent here. This is how you view. This is what I use to view your whole wallet overview, like your profits, and it has really nice tools. You can see this was a wallet I made yesterday, but there's charts, and you can see a calendar view. You can just look at the chart itself, and it will show you how your positions have been doing. So open positions, doing pretty good since yesterday. Everything is in profit. This one is a scratch, and then the closed positions, everything's in profit as well. The big position I had was this Emulites. I got really lucky on that. But for my actual more multi-day pools, AOL and Light, they're both basically out of range. Cope's in range, and it's made a decent amount, 3%. Debt, 0.9%. In general, I was pulling in about 0.5% a day, but then that completely fell on its head. So I don't even know if you really want to have a profit target. Just keep the machine churning, and then it'll come. I want to say don't try to overstretch to reach a goal. Just keep going the way you're doing it, and the profits will come to you. I'm gonna keep moving on here. I think I've taken quite a bit of time. Let's just talk about hedging. That's the one thing I wanted to bring up. So I use drift to hedge positions out, to hedge on my Solana exposure out. The nice thing about drift is there is, I'm pretty sure, no fee for maker orders, and it's generally nice. It's very good on the leverage. You can earn interest, and you could possibly get a funding rate. So, so if you had, say, 50 SOL that you wanted to LP with, what I would recommend is do not buy SOL, swap that to USDC. This is if you want to isolate your exposure to the LP. If your goal in like Meteor or in crypto is just LP to market make, and you don't really want to risk Solana going down to 160 or $80 again, and then all of a sudden half or more, like it doesn't matter if you made a bunch of money LPing, but if your Solana just dumped, then you have less dollars, right? So for me, I want to stack dollars more than I want to stack SOL. So what I do is if I had 50 Solana in my wallet, I might, if I wanted to LP with 50 Solana, I'd swap that to USDC, and then I'd deposit that into something like Drift, which adds a protocol risk, but I'm okay with it. And let me pull up the yield on that. So when you deposit into Drift, you're automatically earning 6% on your USDC that you deposit, something like that. So on top of your LPing, on top of everything, you're earning 6% a year on your collateral, which is nice. You might come in here and short 40 SOL. And then what that means is you now, that's right. Okay. I lied before. You do not want to swap everything to USDC. You want to swap something like 10 or 20% because for drifts, they margin you at, 5%. Or I think it can go as low as like 1% if you do this super high leverage. But I think for most people, it's going to be 5% is your leverage, is your margin. So if you have 50 SOL, swap maybe 5 SOL into USDC and deposit that in here. And then short your like 40 SOL, or maybe even swap 10 SOL and then short the 40. You can do whatever you want. This is like it depends on how much you want to manage this drift thing, because eventually you're going to have to manage your hedge here, because if SOL rips up, then you're going to be liquidated on the hedge. And for me, I'm generally running my hedge with about like a 30% gap. So if SOL is at 200 here, I think my current like liquidation price is up at like 250 about. That means SOL can increase $50 before I have to start worrying about my hedge falling apart. And right, so you can keep your upside potential when you hedge not all of your SOL, which I think is a good idea. Still have some SOL, and then as you accumulate SOL from LPing, you now get more upside potential. So if SOL does rip up, you're making money on that. And it controls your risk. So I said that before, it isolates your exposure to just liquidity providing. An alternative is Jupiter Lend. You can deposit, in this case, you would want to swap everything into USDC, deposit into Jupiter Lend or Camino, and then just borrow SOL. And then you send that SOL to, or you can use the same wallet, use that SOL to LP with. I like perps because you get the higher efficiency. I don't have to have so much of my money sitting in collateral, because with the drift, you do lose that. You don't lose it, you lose access to that money. So you can't LP with that 5 or 10 SOL that you swap to USDC. So it's up to you if you want to do perps or borrow lending to do hedging with. And it's also like a protocol thing too. If you don't like drift so much, if you're a little worried about it and you think Jupe Lend might be safer, if you think Camino might be safer, then you can decide based on that as well. Also, the funding rate's a big thing here. If you do decide to use perps, this is the funding rate for the last month, and you can see the average is basically 0 in APR. It's about -2. What this means is that if you were shorting SOL to hedge off your thing, you're paying 2% to have that position. While if it was positive, you're making 2%. Like recently, the funding rate was up at around 15%. That means you're getting paid 15% a year to have that perpetual futures position just open. But down here, I was paying 20% a year to have it. And this changes a lot, but it's generally slightly negative or slightly positive, between like 3% maybe. But they don't really give you a bigger time frame to look at here. Over the last 7 days, it's been positive for. But if you're shorting, then you want to see this number as positive. It's something to keep in mind, because if the rate gets stuck down here at -20% for a long time, you're going to pay a lot of money to have this position open. And in that case, it might just be better to use a borrow lend. I think I can finish up here.
Yeah. Sorry, I was.
Yes. So that's basically it.
Okay.
My workflow every day might be coming in, opening the Meteora, checking all my positions, probably closing everything, and then I go to Toclio, look for some new pools, find a few that I like, and then I will hop in. Each pool is basically the same thing. I pick between 2 to 10% of my money, throw in a bid ask down to 65, and I call it a day. I put them in and I check it I'll check it on my phone occasionally, but I just kind of let it do its thing. I don't really obsess over these positions. I let them run out. I let them play out, I mean. If there's any more questions, I'll answer those, but that's about it for me.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there's questions in chat, we can do that. Next up,
I see there's a question about a maker fee here for drifts. Yes, I think the drifts maker fee was, I thought it was 0, which is why I use maker. What you want to do is use limit orders if you want to avoid that fee here. On SOL, I'm not signed in right now, but I believe the fee for the perpetuals is 0 if you do a limit order. If you do a market order, you're going to pay a little bit.
Yeah.
Rookie maker it's a small rebate actually, based on what I'm seeing right here.
All right.
Either way,
Cool.
Yeah. So you can get paid a little bit based on this right here, if this is accurate.
Oh, sorry, I already took you off the screen there. Sorry. There you go. Per market.
Yeah, no
fees.
problem here.
Well,
It looks like there's a small rebate.
Yeah. All right. Well, so it's Nito's turn. So, Lincoln, thank you. I'm gonna give Nito a shot here. And y'all feel free, if you got additional questions for Lincoln, go ahead and put it in the chat, and he can answer you there. Nito, you're up.
Yeah, we go. Let me share screen.
There you go.
Okay, I'm gonna focus mainly in Sol USDC. Okay. I have been doing multi-day for memes, but nowadays I think market is a bit wrecked, and I changed to more safer place. And my main play is this one. Okay. First of all, I use high time frames, fairly monthly, to draw my ranges. I try to do things very, very simple because works for me. I think it's better than overcomplicated. So, for example, I take the ATH of 2021, this X resistance that now is support, that you can see here, many touches. So here we have the first range, okay? Very wide. Then I go to weekly, I go down. And now, for example, I'm gonna explain the position that I'm right now, okay? It's this one. I have two positions. I'm in one being pool because TVL is low and volume high. I think it's very profitable right now. So I have this one below, that is one side USDC, only USDC. My idea is I split the range into low range, upper range, and medium range. Okay. So from medium to low, I use only USDC. My benchmark is USDC. I try to earn more USDC. Okay, no more Solana, because we don't know when the bear market is gonna come, and I want to be liquid, not over invested, for when that happen. Okay. So from the medium range to the low range, I use USDC to farm fees and buy Solana in case it dips, doing free Solami. Okay. An important question here is, do you think Solana is gonna do another ATH, for example? I think yes. Okay. So many people ask me about impermanent loss, and it's a very interesting question. But if you think Solana is gonna do a new ATH, okay, as Heavy Metal said, is impermanent loss. As soon as you don't close or you don't sell, it's not a true loss. Okay, so if you think Solana gonna do an ATH, it's not worthy to sell in loss or this kind of things. So what I do is what I was saying. From medium to low, only USDC. In case, let's go to daily. I check my positions like once a day, sometimes once weekly, not too usually. So it allows me to, for example, don't close here, because if you are looking to the chart and the whole day looking at the screen, maybe you have fear here and you close and you get the loss that we don't want to get. Okay. So as low time frame, I use daily. Okay, as lower. So how I draw this range, for example, because I explained you that if you do this, you can do a very simple range, but it's too wide. You are not going to farm a lot of fees. So I use, for example, yearly open. That is a very important level. You can see it starts here. It uses a support, break support, then resistance again, regain, and now support. Okay, so I use these kind of levels that are important. I set the lower range here and making fees. Then the upper range is one side Solana. As I said, my benchmark is USDC, so I truly use Meteora like my DCA tool, if you think about it like this, because I'm DCAing with USDC in case it dips, and I'm DCAing out in case it rips, because I want to get out of Solami and earn some fees and some profit. Okay, so from medium to high, I make one side Solana. I use this level because it's a fair value gap. Fair value gap, I'm gonna try to explain it very simple too. It's like a level, okay, of an asset that market needs to balance. Okay, for example, you can see here in weekly, we have this one, for example. Okay. Okay. You need to take 3 candles. Okay. This first, this second, and this third one. Okay, and this space between first and third is the fair value gap. As you can see, the price dips, but 90% of times it's gonna fill anytime. I mean, maybe not soon, maybe we don't have the cards to know what the market's gonna do. Okay, that's the main reason too, because I do this strategy. I can know what Solana gonna cost tomorrow or next week, but with Meteora, you know that in this range I'm earning 0.30% a day. That is more or less 2% weekly. But to be honest, for me, it's very, very solid, and more in a solid asset like Solana, to be honest.
Yeah. So Alex Alex had a question. How come you're not using the bid-ask flip, more profit from pump and dump?
Because I prefer as you to use spot because price dance a lot, like low, high, and I prefer to maximize my fees than doing profit with bid flip, to be honest.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. What happens, for example, if Solana breaks this level and goes up, and this fair value up starts acting like support? I will do another range. For example, you can take this 88, okay? Using this as support, will draw my Fibo with 0.5 and do the same. In case when price reach this level, you open USDC to below to farm the free Solami, and more Solami you have in your bags for DCA out, for example. And that's my main approach to the market right now. I try to do very simple things. As you can see, it's not too complicated, but it works for me. It let me focus on other things. Meanwhile, you don't need to check it very usually. Around that 2% weekly, I think is solid. SP is doing of an average of 10% yearly, so it's not that huge returns that we can see in crypto, but it's very safe. You don't need a lot of work. It's true that you need more size maybe than memes. You can do with 1,000 or things like that. But I think if you are bullish in Solana, you think Solana gonna make a new 88, it's a good idea and a good strategy.
Awesome.
I saw it, like I say, like a passive income. You don't need a lot of work, so I think it's the best thing, the target of a multi-day strategy, really.
Okay.
And if you have any questions,
I don't know. I'm gonna Soul Chief. I think he is PC. I think his PC might have died. I'm not sure. Soul Chief, or is your PC dead, or are you able to chat?
It's close to dying, but I can quickly do something. Just run
Yeah, go
through
ahead.
how I pick the tokens at LP and how I do that. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly share my screen and
Yeah, go ahead.
me la ha molado, ¿eh? Sí. ¿Qué mucho? ¿Poco?
all right.
Me vas a explicar, niña, que quieres que haga.
So yeah, basically I used Job Pro most of the time when I LP multi-days. I like to call it multi-day Degen and not the regular multi-day where you pick more stable tokens. I'm always on the 5 minutes time frame or 1 hour time frame, and I look for specific types of tokens. Yeah, I'm not LPing Soul USDC or most of the more popular tokens like Chop or Bonk, all of that. I stick to 24 hours. Yeah, minimum of 24 hours old tokens. So what I do basically is I hunt for volume. Yeah, that's what I do. I hunt for volume. And so I go on Job Pro and I go on the 5 minutes time frame and I see what's currently being bought and being sold. And so I look for a minimum of 50K in volume on the 5 minutes time frame. So this is pretty straightforward and basic. I don't do any of the technicals and all of that and TE and all of that stuff. It's pretty straightforward. So on a normal LPD, I look for tokens at mid cap, market cap, like a million market cap to 5 million. That's basically what I like to stick to. And if this was a normal day where I LP, this is the kind of token I would want to LP. It meets the 50k 5 minutes volume market, and also meets the market cap, the FDV. So what I basically do is this. So instead of using community build tools like Tokyo or maybe Meteor AI, which I prefer to use anyways most of the time when I'm not doing the manual method of using Job Pro, I also um, I use Job Pro, and I use GMGen for chats. So um, I just take the token address from Job Pro. I bring it here. Yeah. So I learned this from Kellebeck. Instead of trying to do so much digging in to find out how safe a token is and all of that, and if the volume I am currently seeing is being pushed by bots and volume farms, I just do this. I come on GMGen and see the total fees here. I think Kellebeck made a thread about this, because if the token was in a volume farm where different volume bots just keep trading and raising the volume, but then there's no fees attached. You basically see it here, and so you might come here and find that this token has a total fee of maybe 4 SOL or 5 SOL, and so it's not legit. It's not organic, and so you know that that token is not safe most times. It's just roggers pushing volume and pushing market cap to see if they can catch prey. So I learned this from Kellebeck, and I just basically come here. I see what the total fee is, and I basically know this is printing, and basically this is straightforward. I then LP it. So it has to, for me, it has to meet, the token has to meet these basic criteria for me before I LP them. Typically, I open these positions for maximum 24 hours before I reconsider keeping them open or closing them. I don't constantly monitor them, and that's why I do it this way. So when I don't know, this this is okay. This is where I am. So when I do this, I then go on straight to Meteora to open a position for that particular token. So this method works for everybody. Yeah, from what I have tried, it doesn't matter how much of capital you have. You could literally do this with small bag or a big bag. I tested this out for months with a small bag, and it's been at least 90% profitable. I said this, I think I said this earlier, or maybe on my tweet or something. So this is basically what I do. It's straightforward. It's not very technical. It's a multi-day degen. It's not a very safe token like so USDC that you could just leave. And so I try to monitor it in every 48 hours. I try to open it up and see what's happening. So basically, I always do this one-sided bid ask. I don't attempt to go two-sided or try to go in with one of the more advanced strategies from top gurus like Molu or maybe or Mythical Potato. I just stick to the legendary Alex style position. Just go bid ask full range. I don't try to adjust this full range, and basically I open it this way. So it's pretty straightforward for me. I don't know if this is in any way a typical multi-day position, but I I like to do it this way, and it's pretty easy, and it's been pretty profitable. So I don't know. I'm trying to rush this because my PC is about to die, and I'm not getting into too much detail. But this is basically how I pick out the tokens I LP, and basically what I do with them.
Mir's got a question here. What is your checklist or criteria before opening a multi-day position?
So what I do first, yeah, like I said, job pro, and then the first step is volume. I like to go with the 5 minutes time frame. I just go for volume basically, and then age of the token is very important. I don't do it's if I do under a day, that's typically degening, full-time degening, and so I don't do that. It must be over 24 hours, and then at least 50K volume from where I check it up. When I look it up on Job Pro, it has to have at least 50K volume on the time frame, and then I then further go on to take that particular token to GMGN, and then I do it the Kelleberg way. I check what the total fee is. This proves to me that that token is, or that token is actually currently printing. And from there straight up to Meteora, I go one-sided bid ask all the time, and full range. I always try to do a minimum of 100 bean step. Why? Because yeah, I like a wide range, and I can't constantly monitor a token, and so because this is multi-day degen and not the typical Sol USDC pool where I could leave it for on a 20 bean step and it keeps printing, it could keep moving in that range for hours. I do 100 bean steps for this because it's still typically sort of degening, and so it's pretty volatile, and so I want a wide range so that it can stay in range for the whole time I want to help it.
Yeah. Someone's asked a question. What filter are you using on Juke Pro? How do you set up your range? And I think you already said you just kind of like going the full range or
Yeah, full range, yeah.
but what
So I said this is pretty basic. I don't set up a lot of filters. I don't set any filter at all. I just come straight up. 5 minutes. Okay, let's just do this. 5 minutes volume and 5 minutes time frame on the volume, and then a minimum of 50K market cap. Yeah, 50, not 50K, man, 50K in volume. I mean, on the 5 minutes time frame, 50K volume on the time frame, and then I go a minimum of 1 million market cap, 1 million market cap to about 5 million. That's the range I like to keep it in because I always do this strategy on Meteora Niger, the community. And so I like to make it involve everybody, both those who have a lot of capital and those who don't have a lot of capital. So when you go on for mid cap tokens like this, your liquidity has a lot more what they call it. It's been properly maximized, and so you get as much fees as you can from such tokens, and so it's pretty basic, I think.
yeah. That's cool, man. I think your screen froze on us. But it's okay, or your computer died, one of the two. That's
I think
awesome. I
my
love
screen.
these. Yeah, I think
All
it
right,
died.
go on, sir. Yeah.
No, I love these. I love these perspectives. I'm just gonna bring all the others back up. Lincoln, he had to go, but I think now we have some more questions here, and like here, how to avoid a rug? Well, you can't always avoid a rug, right? Because sometimes the chart will be looking awesome, and like this is gonna go, it's gonna run, and then it'll rug. But anybody else could comment on that. But there's a few other. Alex here is asking, how long are you keeping your positions open? Is it 12 hours, 24 hours, longer? How long are you going? You're
So
on mute.
I
Yeah.
okay. I typically go a minimum of 12 hours to 24 hours before I decide if I want to keep that position open or not. But then a minimum of 12 hours, yeah, because if it's not 12 hours, then it's not multi-hour anymore.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Better to rug you in a 10% pool than a 0.2% one. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like avoiding mosquitoes. Wake up and get rugged. Yeah, I know that feeling. I've watched it, right? But yeah, so Dean's asking, how do you get a full range on Meteora? And I think how you're asking that question, right? We're talking full range. Like if you're trying to cover the entire price range, like 0 to infinity, well, then you don't use the DLMM, you use the DAM. And there are people who do that. But if you want to have concentrated liquidity, you need to use DLMM. What some people may say is full range. What they really mean is like going down 70% or something like that. Sometimes that's what they're saying. That's what they mean. So it's, yeah. Night shift Russian roulette. Yeah, it is. Sometimes you can set up a position and you just wake up and maybe you're in profit and maybe you're not. Yeah. So on our panel here, Mira, I don't know if you have any more questions or if anybody else has any other comments or things you want to add to anything anybody else has talked about so far. Go for it.
No questions for me so far. Lots of alpha actually, and thanks for covering quite a range of strategies, like on Sol USDC, the fairly decent strategies as well. Thank you guys so much. Thanks Soul Chief. Thanks Linklon, and Nito as well. Good alpha.
Yeah, it is, and that's awesome. I'm glad you joined us here too. Yeah, LP is the lifestyle. Yeah, and of course you earn Met points. I never came here for Met points. I came here for fees, but I guess points and all that is a nice bonus, right? That's how I look at it. Yeah, thanks guys. Great stuff. Farm money, not points. Nito, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add or comment. Or Soul Chief?
Everything's good. If anyone has any questions or whatever thing, I don't know.
Yep, no problem on this. I back to earn a little bit money on my USAI position. Did have to go down on that one, but I'm not so sure it's going to come back. We'll see, but I'm gonna try and recoup some of my loss in this. We'll hope for it, right? See what happens. But I'm in profit, so as they say, you cry in green, right? Yeah, I like the and see, and Hector, and this is why I brought in multiple people here, because I asked around, and to get the different perspectives, because people have different ways that they do this, and there's not always just one single right answer. And here's a good question here, Muhammad, asking how many times do you enter one token? And I think what he means is like, you know, you go in, you pull out in profit, do you go back in? And for me, a lot of times, especially if I'm not doing a multi-day, once I'm in, once I've earned my profit, I get out and I don't go back, because a lot of times I have gone back and then it rugs, and not only do I lose on that, I burnt up any profit that I had made before. So a lot of times I'll just take the win, walk away, and go away. Now, I mean, if it is truly a really good long term one, I may stick around in it. Like I've been cooking in Uranus for a while now, and I've been making some solid money on that. And so that one, you know, I'll go back in. But like this USAI, if I get me a nice little pump, I'll probably exit that and walk away and not look back on that. Just that's me. There's a lot of people who like to go back in, but I don't know if you guys want to comment on what you do, but that's what I do.
So I prefer not to jinx it. Once the profit is in, I log that in and just leave it. No need to jinx that.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else? Any other questions or comments? No, there is not. There is a token called Taxit, and it's stupid. It's not on Solana. It's from crazy people who think that's Texas is going to become its own country. I'm not going to go into it, but it's insane. But they're trying to make that an official token. Yeah, Tony, full multi-day after this. You know, and I think that's something else. It's people, there's people out there who will fade multi-day because it doesn't have that same adrenaline rush that the quick memes have. But you can make solid money doing this. You know, when I went on vacation, I went to the Grand Cayman Islands, and it's crazy expensive there, and it was paying for my trip while on vacation, and at least half of that was with multi-day, running multi-day positions. I was running Uranus, Troll, Clippy, and I was making bank off of those. Just while I was going steady earning, and then I would do some other memes and, you know, make fast money there too. But multi-day can totally earn you quite well, maybe a little slower, but sometimes a little safer. It just depends on what you pick. And it's, Alec, how do you act when your position is out of range? Close and move forward, or wait, reopen to DCA? I'd love to hear what you other guys do. I mean, to me, it really depends. Do I have conviction that it's going to come back? Do I think it's going to come back? Man, I'll just diamond hand it and wait. If it's a little bit fresher coin that I don't trust as much, I may either just take the L and walk away, or I may go lower and try to get it back if the volume is there. It just depends. Saw Chief Nito, what do you guys do?
So yeah, I typically leave the position open if it goes out of range on a pump. Yeah, so I typically leave that open because it's multi-day anyways. It was something you could naturally expect that you could go out of position pumping or stuff. So I leave that open. But when it goes out of range on a dump, I typically look out for the volume and see if the volume is still real or not. If it's not, I think I just close that and look at it forward, or just move on.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what I do, Alex. Nito, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that. You're on mute. If you're still there. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's it. We're about at time. It was a great session. Well, here's a question. What's the effect of tightening the range? Well, there's your answer. More fees. Your potential to earn more fees in that amount of time is definite. That comes obviously with risk, right? So it all just depends on like what you think it's going to do, but obviously, like I've said this so many times before, it's like going to a casino. The bigger you bet, the more you can win, but it's also the more you can lose, right? So increasing your risk, you increase the win if you win. So it's like when you're doing, say, USDC, USDT, man, that's about as safe a bet as it possibly gets, right? But your return, your reward is very small. So you have to pick and choose what's your risk, what are you wanting to do? And there's nothing wrong with diversifying that, have some safer plays and some more risky plays. It all depends on what you want to do and what you can afford to do. But okay, I think that's it. We're about on time. We're gonna drop the music and play a song to get out of here. It's a great session. Thank you again to all the instructors for coming and helping out today. Appreciate all of you guys.
Thanks to you for even that.
Yep. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys around.